this morning. So this is an annual forum headed by the RUPIT, which is now the DPCMU. I'm still not so familiar with the dissemination, monitoring, no, dissemination, publication, monitoring unit. Citation unit. So that's the new name of the RUPIT, and this is now also co-organized by all other RDEC units under the Office of the Vice President for Research. So in a while, we'll start our program, and I know that there are empty seats, but we hope for all of the presenters to be here on time according to their scheduled presentation, so that also our evaluators could finish evaluating all 23 social science, education, and humanities papers, and 9. For the national anthem, the doxology, and the Zamboanga Hermosa is to be aided through video presentation. Okay, so welcome once again to the agency in-house review for 2025 for completed and ongoing papers. To welcome us formally in this event, we'd like to call, in behalf of our Vice President for Research and Extension, Dr. Joel G. Fernando, we'd like to call our Research Project Development Unit Head and the Research Centers Operations Office Director, Dr. Marvin Moller. A round of applause.
To our supportive and dynamic University President, Dr. Maria Carla A. Totorena, ably represented by Dr. Ferdinando N. San Juan, the OIC University President, and the Vice President for Student Affairs and Services. Dr. Renante Audida, our Director, RUPIT Coordinator, Dr. Arnel Madrazo. I will not say first the new name because it's not yet approved by the board. The Associate Director, Associate Art Director, Engineer Sinimusi. Our esteemed members of the evaluators, panel of evaluators, which will be formally introduced later. Other university officials, faculty, presenters, students, a pleasant morning. On behalf of the Vice President for Research Extension Services and External Linkages, Dr. Joel G. Fernando, and it is an honor to welcome all of you in this agency in-house review for completed papers. An occasion that highlights our collective pursuit of knowledge and innovation. This review is an opportunity for critical reflection, constructive feedback, and intellectual discourse. As we engage in discussions today, let us remember that every great discovery begin with a question, a challenge, and a commitment to finding answer. Allow me to share these words from Dr. Mark Walford, former Chief UK Research and Innovation. Research is not finished until it is shared. More than a scholarly exercise, this review underscored the fundamental principle that research must not remain confined within academic circles. It must be shared, disseminated, and translated into actionable solutions that benefit the society. Through this research forum, we see the dedication and passion of our students and faculty who have invested time and effort to investigate, analyze, and contribute meaningful insights to their respective fields, and most important, to create solutions that impact lives. Our role as researchers is not just to seek knowledge, but to nurture curiosity and inspire the next generation of thinkers and problem solvers. May this review foster collaboration, encourage constructive discourse, and reinforce our commitment to making research accessible, relevant, and transformative. Once again, welcome and good morning.
Thank you, Sir Mark. So for the inspirational message, in behalf of our University President, Dr. Maria Carla A. Ochotorena, I would like to call the Vice President for Student Affairs Services, Dr. Federina M. Sandoval. Round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Erin. Good morning to each and everyone. Before I will read the message of our University President, allow me to congratulate the research students as well as all other officers for coming up with this forum, both ongoing and completed research activity. This reminds me of several years back when we used to do also and participate in this forum when we always have funded research for the College of OSP. But during those time, nasa RD lang kami, hindi pa hybrid. So, allow me to read the message of our University President. To our esteemed panel of evaluators for the pure sciences and social sciences, Assistant Regional Director of the OST, Assistant Director Ricardo Colenari III, sir, our West Margate Director, Dr. Camilo Abella, Engineer Ray Gumali, Dr. Eileen Saltilon Absara from the Ateneo de Zamboanga University, ma'am, Dr. Arayana Kunting, and Dr. Robert Panaliton. To Dr. Renante Ortega, Director of Research, Development, and Evaluation Center, to Dr. Arnel Matraso, Coordinator, Research, Utilization, Publication, and Information Dissemination, to all our researchers, presenters, students, colleagues, and friends, buenos dias a todos. The famous author and anthropologist Zora Neale Hurston once said, "Research is formalized curiosity. It is poking and prying with a purpose." For years, the Western Mindanao State University has stood firm in its mission to advance knowledge through meaningful research. We have encouraged curiosity, inspired critical thinking, and nurtured inquiry in our students, faculty, and professionals. And today, we gather once more to honor that tradition. One of you plays a vital role. I have said this before and I will say it again. As president of this institution, it brings me pride and joy to witness our students and faculty immersed in research, asking questions, exploring solutions, and creating knowledge that matters. When both our learners and educators pursue research, not just as a requirement, but as a passion. We know we are on the right path. The research strengthens the academic foundation of our university. It breathes life into our classroom and bridges that we teach with what our communities truly need. With this, let me acknowledge with gratitude the role of research, extension services, and external activities or research, soon to be research and extension services. Research Development and Evaluation Center, the RDEC, and the Research Utilization, Publication, and Information Dissemination or RUPI. This tradition of holding our agency in-house review is deeply appreciated. It is not merely a formality. It is a celebration of our culture of inquiry and confirmation that research lives and thrives in our university. To all our researchers, both on-site as well as those who are online, who have submitted and will present their work today, my congratulations. Your dedication, your discipline, and curiosity have brought you here. Whether your research is in pure science, education, technology, health, governance, or the arts.
Members of the College of Forestry have been presenting in annual forum reviews for the research projects. And now, as the years continues on, we are still disseminating and promoting all of our completed and ongoing research for our beneficiaries to utilize them. So to move on, the guidelines for presentation and the evaluation of the proposals for all the research that we presented today will be presented by our Technical Associate for the RUPI, Dr. David J. Moreno. Let's give her a round of applause.
A pleasant morning to everyone. Before we proceed to the paper presentation, let me first walk you through the rationale, the mechanics, and criteria for evaluation of AIHR paper presentation. The Universal Agency In-House Review, or AIHR, for completed papers is conducted by the Research, Development, and Evaluation Center, or RDEC, with research utilization, publication, and information dissemination, or RUPI, under the office of the Vice President for Research, Extension Services, and External Linkages, or the RESL, as an avenue for dissemination of conducted undergraduate and graduate theses, research papers, and capstone projects. The AIHR is an opportunity to recognize the excellence of students and faculty researchers in conducting basic and applied research for the advancement of science and relevance to the community. It is also a valuable stratagem to screen papers for possible publication. Now for the criteria for acceptance of entries. The first, the study has been completed or has adequate results for dissemination. Second, the study has been implemented by a WIMSU student or faculty. Third, the study has relevant and significant scientific merit. And fourth, the study has not been presented to previous AIHR. And last, the study has been endorsed by the respective college dean and research coordinator. Now, we have here the criteria for evaluation. This is for all the paper presentations.
Group Social Science, Education, and Humanities, both in the graduate, undergraduate, professional level. And the other one is the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, and Agriculture, Aquaculture, and Natural Resources. So this will be two groups. The purpose is to assess the impact and quality of the research contributions, and our panel of evaluators will also identify outstanding achievements in these academic disciplines. Evaluator will also evaluate the originality and relevance of the impact of ongoing and completed research, and with it, they will help us improve the papers to ensure alignment with academic standards and institutional research goals, because the end goal of all of these completed projects is supposed to be publication or patent application. So these are the 2025 panel of evaluators. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to introduce the members of the panels of evaluators. First one, our first evaluator is a dynamic and forward-thinking leader of ONEMED for Technical Operations Services at DOST 9. He has championed transformative initiatives, including tailored socioeconomic interventions through the local grants in aid and community empowerment through science and technology programs. His extensive network within the research community has facilitated the influx of research funding, strengthening both local and national partnerships. His leadership has also propelled the growth and productivity of micro, small, and medium enterprises in Region 9, leveraging science and technology-driven solutions. Recognizing his contributions along with his fellow public servants in the regional office, DOST 9 received the Local Achievers Award for Outstanding Public Service in February this year. This is the highest accolade granted by the Zamboanga City Government. A committed advocate for research-driven policy reforms, he has held key roles at DOST 9 since 2011, including as City Director of the City Science and Technology Center for Zamboanga and Isabela cities from 2017 to 2023. With a solid academic foundation, his credentials exemplify homegrown excellence from Western Mindanao State University, reinforcing his unwavering commitment to research, governance, and innovation. It's my privilege to introduce the first member and the chair of the panel of evaluators for the STEM and AFNR category, Assistant Regional Director, Ricardo J. Apolinario III. Ikaw, Chair. Welcome, Sir Apple. For the second member of the panel, for the first group, for STEM and AFNR, STEM AANR. Our next member is a dedicated educator, researcher, and agricultural leader with over 2 decades of service at Western Mindanao State University, rising through the ranks from School Farming Coordinator 1 to Professor 2. He has played a key role in advancing agricultural education, leading income-generating projects in rice and livestock production, and fostering impactful research collaborations. His commitment to honor service and excellence is reflected in his extensive research portfolio, including 5 externally funded studies and 3 ongoing projects with DOST Picard. He has partnered with San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm to provide agricultural training for rehabilitation, JH Real Estate College for studies on Zampen, native chicken, and native pig purification, and UP Los Baños Biotech to enhance fermentation technology. With a BS Agriculture major in Animal Science, MS and PhD in Animal Science in UP Los Baños, and a Master of Public Administration in WIMSU, he is a recognized expert in agriculture research and development. Former Deputy Director of West Mardec, he now serves as Consortium Director, leading regional research, policy advocacy, and technology transfer initiatives. It's my privilege to present the second member of the STEM and AFNR category, Dr. Leonie Labi-Alem. To complete the panel of members for the STEM and AFNR category, our third member of the panel of evaluator is an emerging leader in environmental engineering and sustainable technology whose dedication to research, innovation, and education has contributed to advancement in waste-to-energy conversion, biomass valorization, and water treatment technology. Currently serving as an instructor of environmental engineering at WIMSU, he plays a key role in mentoring future engineers, fostering research-driven solutions, and leading projects that promote environmental sustainability. As well as he is a college student affairs coordinator who strengthens student engagement and academic development. His leadership extends to cutting-edge environmental research, leading projects such as the ZEO Waters, which enhances water treatment using surface modeling awards, including Best Scientific Paper of the Year 2018, BS in Environmental Engineering from the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, reinforcing his expertise in material characterization, wastewater technology, and biofuel. It's my pleasure to welcome Engineer Ray Gumane. So that completes our three panel of evaluators for the first group, three members of the panel. For the second group, for social science, education, and humanities, our first member and the chair for the panel of evaluators for social science, education, humanities category, we're also honored to have a dedicated educator, researcher, and mental health advocate whose expertise in psychology and human development has significantly contributed to academic excellence and community well-being. Serving as the chair of the psychology department at the Ateneo de Zamboanga University, she has over 2 decades of experience in teaching, research, and mentorship, shaping the next generation of psychology professionals. Her scholarly work, focusing on motherhood, mental health, and youth development, has been published in peer-reviewed journals and presented at national and international conferences. Holding a PhD in psychology major in human development from De La Salle University, and Master of Arts in psychology, specializing in organizational psychology from ADSU, and BS psychology, also from Western Mindanao State University. She brings a wealth of knowledge to both academia and applied psychology. Beyond her academic contribution, she is also a licensed civil professional, an active mental health advocate, a sought-after resource speaker for various programs in mental health, gender, and development. I'm honored to introduce Dr. Eileen Sabdilon Agsara. The second evaluator for the STEM and AFNR category is a distinguished educator, researcher, and advocate for transformative learning, whose expertise in social science education has significantly contributed to academic excellence, policy development, and cultural awareness. Serving as an associate professor at Western Mindanao State University, she brings extensive experience in teaching, research, and mentorship, shaping future educators and scholars. Her research is focused on multicultural and indigenous education, citizenship education, local history, and Muslim education in the Bangsamoro context, fostering a deeper understanding of societal dynamics and inclusive education. Holding a PhD in education, majoring in social studies from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, a Master of Arts in Social Studies Education from the UP Open University, a Bachelor of Laws, and a degree in secondary education from PIMSU, she has established herself as a pillar of academic excellence and leadership. Beyond her contributions in research and education, she serves as an adjunct faculty at the UP Open University and an accredited graduate diploma in cultural education faculty under the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, sharing her expertise in national and international platforms to advance civic and social education. It is my honor to introduce an accomplished educator, a promising researcher, whose dedication to innovation and scholarship continues to make meaningful impact. And beyond her expertise, she is also a valued colleague and a trusted friend, known for her commitment to excellence and collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Arayana Fernando Cultin. Give justice to the previous mistake. Finally, to complete the third member, to complete the panel of evaluators for the science, social science, education, humanities category, our third panel, member of the panel is a seasoned educator, anthropologist, and cultural scholar whose expertise in anthropology, philosophy, and education has significantly contributed to academic excellence and cultural preservation. With nearly 3 decades of teaching experience across leading institutions in Zamboanga, he currently serves as a faculty at Western Mindanao State University, where he continues to mentor future scholars and advance research in spirituality, indigenous cultures, and education. His leadership extends beyond the classroom, having held key positions such as Dean, Vice President for Research, and Director of Cultural Institute at the Ateneo de Zamboanga University, where he played a pivotal role in shaping institutional cultural organizations further reinforce commitment to advancing scholarship and preserving indigenous knowledge. It's with great respect that I introduce Dr. Robert Villaluz Panagito. So there you have it, the three
9 students enrolled for academic school year 2023 to 2024. And the school can only be reached by foot after 1.5 hours of walk from the diversion road of Route 14 and after crossing 18 rivers. Question, why evaluate the project role? An evaluation is crucial to understand if project role is achieving its goal and how it can be approved. It allows us to demonstrate the effectiveness to stakeholders, which is vital for continued support and future development. Hence, the impact assessment for project role and aims to conduct this impact assessment, specifically determine the inputs would be the objective of the project role, outputs, the expected outputs, outcomes and benefits of the project, also identify opportunities, challenges, and constraints on the implementation of the project role.
Becoming creators of knowledge through active engagement in research. Now, we know that globally the role of teachers and researchers is gaining contributions for its contribution to education improvement. Research also plays a vital role in enhancing teachers' ability to deliver evidence-based instruction, benefiting not only educators but also students who gain valuable skills and professional credibility through research experiences. That's according to AGON and IUB 2018. Now, in the Philippine Basic Education Landscape, research-infused curriculum has already been implemented in senior high school to promote a culture of inquiry and critical thinking skills among students. That's according to Rojas in 2020. Now, research is a separate subject in the academics grant. It is also integrated in the language subjects such as Filipino and English, that's according to Rojas 2020. And this is actually indicated in DepEd Order Memorandum number 43 series of 2013. That's according to the Department of Education 2018. So as a result, it is essential for senior high school teachers to possess strong research skills in order for them to mentor their students effectively. However, studies show that many teachers lack confidence and proficiency in research, affecting their ability to teach the subject effectively. Now, international and local, including the findings of Fortaleza and Patea in 2013, Wilson in 2016, and European Commission in 2017, results show or reveal that insufficient teacher training and limited research capacity. We have two objectives for this study. First is to determine the extent of research skills capacity of our senior high school teachers in Zamboanga City. Second is to, in terms of information seeking skills, methodology, problem solving, communication, and statistical skills. Second is to determine the significance
was confined in their homes. Everybody was so afraid to go out, and we started to make our lives within our homes. And the methodology that we use in this study is descriptive qualitative method.
Number one option actually is not to place them in residential care facility, but to look for any family that can provide their needs. But in the event the authority, let's say the SWD, cannot identify or locate any responsive family, then they are forced to place the children in the facilities. And supposedly the facilities will ensure that all the necessary care needed for the appropriate growth, or at least the child can have the fair chance at life. It should have been available inside the facility. So, the integration. For the background of the study, residential care facility is actually a 24 hours group living that caters the abandoned, abused, and neglected children. But this is actually the last option for the client, especially for the children. And there's actually a global goal for the institutionalization because it does more harms than benefit. This is operated by both private and public agencies.
Research thanks to WIMSU for funding this graduate tracer study, which is actually an input to essential insights for enhancing quality management system. I will be representing the team here. Together with me is Dr. Nora Lai of the Alumni Relations Office, Dr. Lea Osman, Dr. Oscar Sikat, and Ms. Herb Esquerra. So why did we conduct a tracer study? Tracer study is attributed to a process in knowing the quality of graduates that we produce in relation to curricular requirements. Also, graduate tracer study enables us to align institutional outcomes such as sustainable development goals, such as decent job, and also graduate tracer study also serve to give us feedback whether our curricular programs align to the requirements, translating WIMSU employability and marketability as an indicator of quality. And at the same time, results of graduate tracer study enables us to determine whether we meet quality assurance standards as required by CHED, as required by Paporelli-Simons, and other institutional requirements of government. So therefore, results of graduate tracer study is actually an input to continual improvement, particularly to program development or curricular program development and enhancement of the university.
So this study aims to answer the following slide. The study actually aims to answer 3 research questions. Number 1, what are the experiences of domestic violence or domestic abuse among women during COVID-19 pandemic? What are the needs of women who experienced abuse during this time? And what are the coping strategies employed by the informants in face of their experiences of domestic abuse in terms of solution-focused coping strategies and emotion-focused coping strategies? For the methodology of this study, we utilized qualitative research design. We had limited participants who willingly shared their experiences. Nonetheless, we were able to identify 3 key informants who shared their experiences with us.
To participate in peaceful civilian life. And this study evaluates the effective of government reintegration programs. So these programs I've been talking about in addressing insurgency and supporting former rebels return to peaceful civilian life. Specifically targeting socioeconomic status, access to programs, social issues, economic opportunities, and the psychosocial needs of the former combatants. And its final goal is to propose a reintegration model. Next slide. So, interview 10 for each province. There are 3 provinces in the Zamboanga Peninsula. I also included 5 project implementers and 5 community volunteers. Of course, using surveys and FGDs and thematic and statistical analysis. Okay? So, what are the findings? Important findings of this study. Let's talk about the socioeconomic conditions before and after reintegration. So before reintegration, nearly 100 lived in poverty with high unemployment and insecurity. And after reintegration, those who have participated in the reintegration program of the government, about 60-65% remain unsatisfied with their current jobs. So job satisfaction mean is only 2.50. Next slide. Around 50 to 55 report unstable or irregular employment. 70 to 75 receive inadequate housing support. And there is an estimated 60% vocational training did not match job market needs. And roughly 50% express only moderate improvement
when it comes to economic conditions. So this reveals that socioeconomic improvement is partial and uneven. While aid or help or assistance is available, many returnees remain in unstable jobs with little housing assistance or job market relevant training. Most of them still struggle up to now to achieve economic stability.
A forward-looking evaluation, flood management, and hazard mitigation strategies. Next. Rivers are the lifeline of the human race across the world. Due to the rapid growth of population and rising demand for land, humans begin to live within the valleys and floodplains of rivers. Floods are the most common, widespread, and devastating natural disaster, causing significant social, economic, and environmental damage in both developing and wealthy countries. Zamboanga City has experienced several devastating floods that have caused significant damage to infrastructure, homes, and properties, resulting in economic losses and displacement of communities. So ultimately, this research proposal is backed onto UN SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly 16.3, the strong institutions, as well as 17 partnership for the goals. So the general objective of this Futures Thinking study is to evaluate the effectiveness of the flood management and hazard mitigation strategies as implemented by Zamboanga City's local government in urban barangays as a forward-looking appraisal on its urban flooding resilience. As specific objectives, this study are as follows. First, to examine the interagency collaboration among government bodies involved in flood management and hazard mitigation. Second, to identify the importance of strengthening early warning systems to enable timely and accurate flood warnings. And the third, to propose policies to improve governance on infrastructure resilience, engage communities through awareness campaigns and workshops, and establish a robust monitoring and evaluation framework for the enhancement of the urban flooding resilience.